Welcome back to the deep dive. If you've been following along, you know that the world has just completely shattered for our group from the Two Rivers.
Shattered is the right word. We left them literally fleeing the ashes of their own homes.
Yeah, and the stakes have just gone from, a local monster attack to something about world-shaking prophecy in, like, the blink of an eye.
That's right. The first few days of their flight were all about pure survival. But the chapters we're getting into today, chapters 21 through 25, this is where the actual fundamental rules of their world start to come out.
And they are horrifying rules.
They are. The innocence of the Two Rivers is, for all intents and purposes, officially dead and buried.
Our source material for this deep dive is, it's a terrifying masterclass in world building. These chapters reveal the true, agonizing mechanics of this universe.
Rules that Moiraine and Lan have been, I think, desperately trying to keep under wraps until they absolutely had to reveal them.
So our mission today is really to unpack 3 massive revelations that change everything for these young characters.
Absolutely. First, there's the horrifying biological deadline that comes with the One Power. This thing we'll call the Sedai sickness.
Then the group itself gets torn apart, which throws Rand and Mat onto a much, much darker path.
And third, and this is the big one for this section, the emergence of Perrin and Egwene's ancient, frankly profoundly dangerous new identity as a Wolfbrother.
We're watching them realize they aren't just being hunted anymore.
No, they are being claimed by the forces of the pattern, whether they like it or not.
Okay, so let's pick up the trail right where we left off. They've fled Eamon's Field. Tam Althor, Rand's dad, is still badly hurt, and they're pulling him on this makeshift litter.
And Lan is setting a pace that is, by any normal standard, just inhumane. He's forcing them forward, no real pauses for rest or recovery.
He's not trying to be cruel, though. He gets it.
He understands the threat in a way the villagers simply cannot. That Trolloc attack wasn't just a random raid for supplies.
No, it was a surgical strike. They were there for specific people.
Exactly, and every hour they linger near the Two Rivers, the odds of a murderil, a half-man, finding their trail again go up exponentially. It is a desperate, silent scramble away from certain death.
And right in the middle of this desperate flight, while they're all looking over their shoulders, they get a very noisy, very unexpected addition to their party.
Nynaeve Almera, the wisdom of Eamon's Field.
I remember reading this and just stopping. How did the village wisdom, who has never, ever left the Two Rivers in her life, manage to track Landman Dragarin?
The greatest warder alive. It's astonishing. She tracks them across open country right to the banks of the Terran River.
And when they press her on it, when Lana's like, how did you do this? She doesn't talk about tracks or broken twigs.
No, not at all. She simply says she was listening to the wind.
And that phrase, listening to the wind, that should set off alarm bells for you immediately. This is not normal intuition we're talking about.
You have a woman whose entire known skill set is medicinal herbs, predicting the weather for farmers and, village administration.
Yeah.
And she performs a feat of tracking that a seasoned military scout would find nearly impossible.
It's this raw, untapped power, just bubbling up without her even knowing what it is.
Precisely. It's manifesting unconsciously. But her reason for being there is anything but helpful from Moiraine's perspective.
Oh, not at all. She's convinced Moiraine is some kind of dark sorceress who has kidnapped the village kids.
She's there to physically force them, especially Egwene, to turn around and go back to what she sees as safety.
And she's operating under that really deep, pervasive distrust of the Elyas Sedai that just seems to saturate the entire culture of the Westlands.
It's the default setting for most people, and that distrust is immediately put to the test.
It really is, because almost as soon as Nynaeve joins them, they run smack into an organized human threat.
The Children of the Light?
The White Cloaks.
This encounter is absolutely necessary to establish the political reality of their world. The shadow isn't the only thing they have to worry about.
Right. So who are these guys? They're dressed all in white, sunburst on the chest.
They're a major military and religious organization. They're fanatically devoted to the light, and their entire mission is to root out practitioners of the One Power.
Who they see as dark friends. All of them.
All of them. No exceptions. They are instruments of the shadow, full stop. They embody this kind of dogmatic human opposition that Moiraine usually tries to, deftly maneuver around.
But there's no maneuvering here. They stop the party, and they demand to question the Azazai and her companions. For a second, you really think these poor villagers are about to get arrested by a self-appointed religious police force?
But Moiraine doesn't argue with them. She doesn't try to reason or explain. She leans into their fear.
Yeah, she does. The description of it is so good, she just steps forward.
And the sources describe how the shadows seem to just clump around her feet. But the key detail...
Her voice.
Her voice comes from every direction at once. It's utterly terrifying, even just reading it on the page.
And what's so brilliant about it is, it's not a big flashy show of the One Power. She doesn't throw a fireball.
Not at all. It's a show of authority that's backed by the fear of the One Power. It's a psychological weapon. She's using their own hatred as a shield.
And it works. The White Cloaks, who have dedicated their lives to fighting people like her, they just scatter.
And Lon's perspective on this is so telling. He just says grimly, "Only fools disobey an Elyas Sedai."
He gets it.
He gets it. Moiraine is banking on the fact that their organized fanaticism is actually a more reliable defense than any argument she could make. It's cynical, but it keeps them moving.
It's an ethical nightmare, really. She has to leverage terror and hatred just to survive. But this encounter leads to the absolute biggest revelation in this section.
The lore bomb.
The lore bomb that forces Nynaeve to finally back down. It's the truth Moiraine shares about why Egwene cannot go home.
This is what transforms the journey. It's no longer just a political escort mission to protect some important kids. It becomes a literal life or death race against a biological clock.
Moiraine finally confronts Nynaeve's stubbornness, her insistence on saving Egwene, and explains the terrifying mechanical reality of Sidar, the female half of the true source.
Okay, let's unpack this concept really thoroughly, because this is the bedrock of the entire White Tower's reason for being.
Right, so if a woman is born with the innate ability to channel what they call the spark,
and she doesn't get proper training from the Aes Sedai in Tarvalon,
that power will eventually manifest anyway, and it will kill her inescapably.
It's an involuntary slow-motion execution imposed by the universe itself. The human body just cannot handle the raw, undirected flow of the true source.
And Moiraine does not soften the blow. She lays out the graphic process.
She doesn't mince words at all. She describes convulsions, screaming. It takes days, and once it begins, there's nothing that can be done to stop it. Not by all the Aes Sedai and Tarvalon together.
That last detail is just chilling. Not by all the Aes Sedai and Tarvalon together. It's not a matter of skill or power, it's a fundamental rule.
It completely recontextualizes the White Tower. You realize they aren't just a political organization hunting for recruits.
No, they're essentially an emergency medical unit trying to prevent involuntary death by magic.
And for Egwene, the urgency is magnified. Moiraine is convinced she's close to her first touching the moment the ability fully activates.
So if Egwene stays in the Two Rivers, or worse, goes back now, she'll trigger the spark.
And without immediate expert training, she will die that horrible death. It is a literal ticking deadline.
And what makes this revelation just so powerful and so personal is that Nynaeve herself is immediately implicated in all this.
Moiraine basically looks at her and connects the dots.
Your ability to track us, you're listening to the wind.
That's it. That's a crude, instinctive form of channeling the power. You, Nynaeve, also have the spark.
So Moiraine is essentially delivering Nynaeve a shared death sentence. You have this incredible raw strength, but if you ignore it, if you stay home, it's going to kill you just as surely as it will kill Egwene.
And you see Nynaeve just deflate. Despite her deep, abiding hatred of Aes Sedai, she's forced to accept this terrible fact. Survival requires the intervention of the very people she despises.
It forces us, the listener, to finally understand Moiraine's frantic pace. She isn't kidnapping these girls for some grand, ambitious plan.
She's dragging them toward the only hospital that can treat their fatal, magical condition. It's a tragic necessity.
And just to tie a bow on all this immediate danger, Moiraine drops a quick mention of what's happening in the wider world.
To context, Logan,
The so-called false dragon who was just captured near a place called Lugard.
She uses it to reinforce her point that the world is in chaos, that the pattern is weaving faster and faster. She implies that Logan's capture isn't random, it's part of the grand design, and their own fate is just as woven in.
Okay, so the pressure from the shadow, it just doesn't let up. We need to remember that even Land's frantic pace wasn't quite fast enough.
No, they're eventually attacked again. Trollocs, and worse, a Murdrawl. Those eyeless half-men are right on their heels.
We should probably pause on the Murdrawl for a second. These things they're something else.
They're described as the physical manifestation of fear itself. Pale, snake-like skin, no eyes, and they move with this unsettling silence.
And the detail about the shadow.
They cast no shadow, even in bright sunlight. They are the field commanders of the Shadow's armies, and their presence means the Dark One is taking this hunt extremely seriously.
So the fight that happens next, which we mostly see the aftermath of, it just shatters the group's fragile unity.
It forces a decision. To maximize the chances of escape, they have to separate.
And this is such a crucial turning point in the story. The core group of our main characters splits onto two completely different paths,
Reflecting two very different kinds of danger. Rand, Matt, and Tom Maryland, the Gleeman, they scramble onto a riverboat.
Captain Delman's ship, the Spray. They're heading downriver towards cities and civilization.
Meanwhile, Perrin and Egwene are left behind, in the wilderness, forced to rely on pure instinct and the ancient earth.
Let's follow Rand and Matt first. They're on the boat. They've escaped the immediate physical danger, but they fly straight into a much deeper psychological horror.
A profound escalation. While he's on the Spray, Rand has his first crystal clear, terrifying encounter with the Lord of the Dark himself.
Balsamon.
And this is absolutely not just a bad dream, it's something far more real.
The danger moves past swords and Trollocs into, like, metaphysical warfare.
Yeah.
Balsamon targets Rand directly in this waking nightmare.
And the imagery is so personal. It's all designed to destabilize him, to make him question his own reality.
The visuals are so disturbing. He sees his own reflection in a mirror just blur, as if his identity is literally unstable.
And even more chilling, he looks into the fireplace and sees the faces of men and women writhing in anguish, screaming silently in the flames.
If a vision of hell directed right at him.
And Balsamon's words, his rhetoric, it's all designed to plant the seeds of absolute paranoia. He mocks Rand. He tells him he's not a hero of destiny. He's a pawn of the White Tower.
Yeah, that line about his parents is just brutal.
Your father was chosen by the White Tower, like a stallion roped and led to his business. Your mother was no more than a brood mare to their plans.
I mean, how do you even process that?
Yeah.
It undermines everything Rand thought he knew about his simple, quiet life. It suggests his very existence was engineered.
And Balsamon doesn't stop. He leans right into the political history of the world. He starts name-dropping failed false dragons from the past.
Davian, Urian Stonebow, Gwarion Melisson, Rhaelyn Darksbane.
And then the recently captured Logan, the implication is crystal clear. All these powerful men were just puppets for the Amarylline seat, used up and then destroyed. And you, Rand, are next on the chopping block.
But the thing that makes this so much more than a nightmare, the part we really need to analyze, is what happens when Rand wakes up.
This is the crucial element. He wakes up, he's shaken, covered in sweat, but then he finds a wound on his palm.
A real bleeding thorn prick, something that connects the dream world to the real world.
This tells you everything you need to know about the nature of the Dark One's power. The boundary between the waking world and what they call Teleranred, the world of dreams, is porous.
Especially when someone like Balsamon is involved.
He isn't just psychologically tormenting Rand, he is actively reaching across planes of existence to inflict physical harm.
That suggests the dangers are completely unavoidable. You can run from a Trolloc, but how do you run from a being that can reach into your own mind and hurt you?
You can't. It confirms the threat is inescapable, it's omnipresent. The Dark One is investing personal energy in Rand, which only proves Moiraine's point about how important he is.
So still reeling from that dream and the close call with the Myrddraal, Rand and Matt jump ship in a town called Whitebridge.
They're desperate to get back on land and keep moving, and who do they immediately, coincidentally, run into?
Padan Fain, the peddler.
But he is not the affable, slightly creepy peddler they knew from home. He's gone, he's raving, he's terrified out of his mind.
And Rand instantly recognizes him. He's the unsettling beggar who is watching them back near Imon's field.
This is so significant. Fain represents a completely different kind of tracking threat. He's not a Myrddraal, he's not a Trolloc, he's human.
And as Moiraine later reveals, he was captured and turned by the Dark One into a unique kind of agent.
A dark friend, yes, but one where the evil goes deeper in him and stronger than in any man Moiraine has yet seen. He is a relentless, superpowered tracker.
The Dark One basically imprinted a piece of his own will onto Fain, turning him into a persistent human bloodhound who will never ever give up the hunt.
The Shadow has deployed its military, its magical commanders, and now its own specialized human assets, all focused on finding these three young men.
And that relentless pursuit comes to a really tragic, really heroic climax there in Whitebridge.
They're attacked again. A Myrddraal, right there in the town, confirming the Shadow is still right behind them.
And this is where Tom Maryland, the witty, cynical old Gleeman, shows his true colors.
He's been this source of levity and worldly stories, a bit of a distraction, but he turns out to be so much more than a musician.
He's incredibly capable. When that fate attacks, Tom doesn't hesitate for a second. He sacrifices himself.
Instantly. He draws his daggers and just charges the Myrddraal, knowing full well he's probably gonna die.
Just to buy Rand and Matt a few seconds to run?
It's a massive emotional blow for the boys and for us. They escape, but they have to carry the heavy weight of Tom's probable death with them.
He wasn't just some friendly escort. He was their last real link to an adult who could explain the world to them, and his sacrifice just hammers home the mortal danger they're in.
And you have to wonder, Tom's skill with those daggers, his willingness to face a creature that can kill with a look, it implies a violent history, a past that Moiraine never talked about.
It just confirms that everyone caught up in this story is more than they seem on the surface. So while Rand and Matt are dealing with, urban terror and metaphysical attacks from the devil himself, we had to shift our focus back to the pair left in the wilderness.
Perrin and Egwene. And their journey provides, I think, the most profound and immediate character transformation in this entire block of chapters.
Let's talk about Perrin and Egwene. At the start of this journey, he's really struggling with his own identity.
He's this stocky, physically powerful young man, a blacksmith who is far more comfortable with his hammer than with a sword.
And he's actively resisting the violence he was forced to commit back in the Two Rivers. He's deeply internal, he's brooding, he's morally conflicted about what he's become.
He and Egwene are alone, they're hungry, they're lost in the woods, and then they encounter this strange, solitary figure.
Elyas Machera.
And this meeting is the catalyst for Perrin's entire destiny.
Elyas is described as this rough-looking man, gnarled face, thick mustaches, but it's his eyes. The detail that jumps out is his eyes.
Perrin notices it instantly. Yellow eyes, he thinks. It's an immediate physical marker of a shared ancient condition that Perrin doesn't even understand yet.
And Elyas is the one who just lays it all out on the table. He reveals the truth. He's a Wolfbrother, a man who can speak with wolves.
Not just speak to them, he's one of them. And he's not alone. He introduces the wolves by name, Dapple, Wyn, others, and they are friendly to Elyas. And startlingly, they are friendly to Perrin.
The connection is immediate. It's undeniable. The wolves recognize Perrin as one of their own.
They express this mental sense of curiosity and profound relief. They communicate that it's been a long time since the first day that they hunted alongside men.
That phrase, the first day, that is some serious deep lore. It immediately places Perrin's new power not in the context of the recent past or even the Age of Legends.
No, this is primordial. This is something that potentially predates the One Power as we know it. He's tapping into something ancient.
It positions Perrin completely outside the established magical structures of this world. He's not a channeler, he's not a dark friend, he's not a white cloak.
He is a living link to the deep past, a primal force that has been rediscovered. And the wolves are ecstatic about it. They see him as a return to a natural order that was broken millennia ago.
Of course, Egwene's reaction is, well, it's pretty understandable. She's terrified.
Especially when the wolves start growling menacingly at her when she demands answers from Elyas.
It shows you that this wolf-brother connection, it's a bond, but it's a violent, non-human one. And it immediately starts to isolate Perrin from his own people.
And this new power, while it gives them immediate security out in the wild, it comes with a massive, life-threatening burden.
This is where Elyas drops the other shoe. He reveals that the Aes Sedai once captured him and tried to gentle him.
Let's be very clear on the stakes of that word. Gentling is what they do to male channelers. They sever their connection to the true source.
And it almost always results in death or insanity. It's a fate worse than death for most.
So the immediate question is, why would the Aes Sedai try to gentle a man who is not channeling the One Power?
Because they don't understand it.
Exactly. The Wolfbrother ability is powerful, it's unexplained, and therefore it's uncontrolled. The White Tower fears and seeks to eliminate any source of male power that they cannot define and contain.
And Elyas explains that to escape them, he had to kill a couple of warders. He gives Perrin this stark, terrifying warning.
The Aes Sedai will hunt you too for this old thing, older than Aes Sedai.
So now Perrin is caught between two massive hostile forces. The Shadow is hunting him because he's one of the 3 boys from Emond's Field.
And the Light's own agents, the Aes Sedai, will try to kill or maim him simply for existing with this ancient, uncontrollable power. He has nowhere safe to turn.
Perrin's acceptance of all this is so rapid and so profound. He realizes he shares this kinship with the wolves, and he is immediately forced to reject the quiet, simple life of blacksmith forever.
That internal conflict he had about violence, it just got 1,000 times more complicated. He's physically strong, and now he is mentally connected to a pack of wild predators.
The burden is psychological. Perrin becomes noticeably more grim, more pragmatic. He gains security and this incredible loyalty from the wolves, but he loses any last shred of his innocence.
He's a Wolfbrother now, and that means he has to live by a different set of rules. Rules that might require him to embrace the very violence he's been trying so hard to run away from.
Okay, so the split group continues down these very divergent paths. Perrin and Egwene, they're following Elyas, and they find this temporary sanctuary.
They stumble upon the Tuatha'an, the traveling people,
The Tinkers.
and this little interlude is so crucial for cultural contrast. It offers a momentary pause in the relentless, forward-driving pace of the story.
They meet Rain and Isla and their grandson Aram, and they're introduced to this entire community that is defined by the Way of the Leaf.
An absolute religious refusal of all violence, no matter the provocation.
And Egwene, who is just desperate for some normalcy after all the trauma, she just throws herself into it. She loves the dancing, the community, the peace.
It's this beautiful concept, isn't it? A little pocket of peace in a world that is actively tearing itself apart.
But it's an illusion.
It's a tragic, impractical ideal in a world where Trollocs and Myrddraal are real things that are hunting you. It serves as a brief, fleeting glimpse of a safety that doesn't actually exist for them anymore.
And it's Perrin's character arc here that really reinforces this grim reality.
Yes. When Egwene, who is still clinging to the hope of her old life, asks him to promise her that Rand and Mat are still alive,
He can't do it. He can't lie to her. He just says he hopes so.
that one simple, honest answer speaks volumes about how much he has changed.
Absolutely. The wolf connection, his increasing awareness of the danger, it stripped him of the ability to offer those empty reassurances. He understands that death is their constant companion now.
Meanwhile, back on the other path, the urban riverfaring one, Rand and Mat, are reeling from Tom's sacrifice at Whitebridge.
They realize they have only one option left. Their small-town instincts are screaming at them to run home, to go back to the Two Rivers.
But their new, harsh reality tells them that the only possible safety lies with the very people they've been taught to fear.
They have to find Moiraine.
They need a destination, and Moraine's earlier comment about Logan provides it. They start hearing rumors that Logan, the captured false dragon, has been taken to Camelin,
The capital city of Andor. And they remember Moiraine saying his capture was part of the pattern.
so they head for Camelin. They are consciously walking right into the center of high politics, royal families, and massive, unpredictable danger.
They're trading the danger of the open road and Trolloc attacks for the gilded cage of a metropolis and all the complexities of human power games.
It's the next stage of their journey. They know Moiraine will follow the threads of the pattern, and if the pattern is currently centered on the false dragon in Camelin, that's where she'll go.
They're no longer just fleeing from something. For the first time, they are actively moving toward the conflict. So let's just zoom out for a second and look at the state of our heroes at the end of these chapters. The core group has been completely ripped apart.
And each splintered off piece is facing a customized, personal kind of existential crisis.
You've got Rand and Mat, who are facing these direct psychological assaults from the Dark One himself, while trying to navigate this complex political world on their way to a massive city.
And they're surviving on sheer luck and the kindness of strangers, like Tom, who literally died for them.
Then you have Perrin and Egwene, who are facing the primal side of the pattern. Perrin is now connected to this ancient non-human power.
They're forced into isolation, and they're wrestling with this huge moral dilemma of absolute nonviolence versus the necessity of survival.
I think the biggest, most sobering takeaway for you, the listener, has to be that their existence is no longer a matter of free will.
Not at all. Whether they chose to go with Moiraine or not, the universe, through violence and terrifying revelation, has accepted them as central threads in the great web of the pattern.
The luxury of deciding to just go home, that's gone. Their only mission now is to survive.
And the knowledge dropped in these chapters is just overwhelming. The Sedar sickness gives women who can channel an involuntary death sentence if they don't get help.
Balzamon's reach can literally inflict physical pain from inside your own dreams.
And Perrin's Wolfbrother power is so old and so uncontrolled that the Elyas Sedai, the supposed agents of the light, will try to kill him just for having it.
It raises this fundamental question as they all head toward their next great test. What power is actually going to save them?
Is it the structured, necessary, but often terrifying magic of the Elyas Sedai, who demand absolute control?
Is it the primal, ancient ways of the Wolfbrother, which offers a certain kind of freedom, but also constant danger from all sides?
Or is the key simply the strength of their own untainted wills standing against these preordained fates? The hunt is closing in, and their choices are getting fewer by the minute.
So as we look ahead to Camlin, where Rand and Mat are walking, a city of intrigue, of royalty, and it's hosting the captured Logan,
Yeah.
you have to wonder about Moiraine's foresight.
She said Logan was part of the pattern.
Right. But now that Rand and Mat are walking directly into the center of that political storm, you have to ask, is Logan a distraction? Is he a pawn? Or is his presence in Camlin going to draw yet another level of extreme danger directly onto our young heroes' heads?
The pattern weaves onward, and it is completely indifferent to their fear.
Join us next time as we follow Rand and Mat into the heart of Andor and the gilded, dangerous city of Camlin. Until then, keep digging, keep questioning, and keep reading.